Hello everyone. I'm here to talk about the assignment that was required, which was to select something that was previously designed and after reading the text, make some changes and explain why. So one of the advertisements that I put up, or flyer rather, was the first flyer that I have created in September that committed a lot of the sins that we've been reading about. First and foremost, I noticed that when I was completing this flyer, my purpose and my audience was for high school students to join the Double Dutch team. One of the biggest mistakes that I made was centering everything. So when I initially created the flyer, I wanted to grab students' attention, and I thought, let me just put everything in the middle. So that was a big sin that I have made when creating this flyer. I also used Microsoft Word, which I realized there are several other resources and tools to create advertisements. So I was unaware in September, and now I have a lot more knowledge. I also used word art, so I began creating the font, the Double Dutch team, join the Double Dutch team in red word art letters on white backing paper. So it didn't really stand out much. I also centered a huge clip art image right in the center of the flyer, and I put girls double dutch, jump roping or performing double dutch. And I don't think, after reading the text, I don't think that I have successfully completed that. I saw, now when I look back, I saw, oh my goodness, I committed several of the sin. The text talks about too many fonts or using regular typical font, and I definitely did that. I used Times New Roman, maybe size 14 to capture students' attention. I tried to make the advertisement really simple because students often just quickly walk through the hallways to rush to their next class. So I wanted to create something that they're going to quickly look at, and I realized by censoring everything, the image was taking away from the purpose. So some of the changes that I have created was not centering everything. So the image that I chose was, of course, students double dutching, but I put it on the smaller left hand side, and I didn't make it as big because it was taking away from my purpose, which was to have students join the Double Dutch team. What I also did was, instead of using red font saying join the Double Dutch team, I used black font on white because the text tells us that that is effective. And the text also tells us about reverse typing, which usually is white letters on back or darker colors. So I use that as a method of emphasis. As you can see in the bottom of the new advertisement, I give students a lot of information about the who, what, where the Double Dutch tryouts will be held. And as you can see, it's in white for the purpose of emphasis. Now, I'm sure it's arguable whether this is effective, but I thought, again, high school students roaming the hallways, they're rushing from class to class. This is something that would grab their attention because it's reverse font. Trapped negative space. When I first initially completed my flyer on the Microsoft Word document, there was a lot of negative space, and I did not utilize the white space as much as I could have. I believe with the new flyer, I try to utilize as much white space. This way, there is a balance and harmony in the flyer. This way, students take the time to look at the flyer. And some of the things that I also did is I was a little bit more careful with the font that I used. I tried not to use Times New Roman because that's a standard font that we use to write essays for college readiness, and I tried to make a font that was, or tried to use a font that was a little bit more playful, for the purpose of, again, engaging students, for the purpose of catching students' attention, for the purpose of communicating with students that joining this team would be beneficial. So I used more playful fonts, and when I needed to really emphasize the date as the text says, instead of underlining or putting letters in bold, I changed the font so that students know that the important day is a different font size, not necessarily underlined obnoxiously or italicized or bold. It's just a different font. And another thing that I avoided was having a busy background. I really tried hard not to incorporate as many images as I possibly can. Like I said, the first flyer that I created, the image took away from the meaning or the purpose of my flyer. This time the images were a lot smaller to accompany my message, but not necessarily to make the message. So I created this video. There is a written analysis as well, but I thought this video would be ideal to accompany the purpose and to address some of the changes that I have created in the flyer. Have a lovely night.